Hey everyone, I hope you're having a good day. Welcome to your Thursday critique. We only have three main images to go through, three main submissions, so this shouldn't take too long, hopefully, although I do have a tendency to ramble on occasion. I wanted to start off with Amy's here because Amy, I know you posted this one yesterday after yesterday's critique, so I wanted to make sure to get you feedback on this. Loving, well, first off, I like great reference. You're like some that I love that you're matching up to the reference in a lot of ways. It's working out really well. It makes for a fun project, and I think it's great. I think it's really nice to work this way because now you can do a direct A to B comparison versus what we are seeing and really kind of get that. Okay, so a few things. Let's start with the overall brightness of this specular highlight. It's stronger than it ever really gets on them, and it's a little bit tighter. So I think what you should do is soften that and diffuse that a little bit more. And the way that you should do that is one of the ways of diffusing that, because I like the overall like diffuse value. So I would just increase the roughness, the specular roughness in the material itself, if you can. Like I said, I think for this challenge, I said not to mess with the materials too much, but like in that case, it's okay since we're trying to do something so directly. And it's a similar deal with the shoes. So the shoes here are like a jet black with a really tight specular highlight. If you look at the reference, they never really get, the shoes and gloves never really get super black. And the specular highlight's a little bit more diffuse and a little bit more drawn out. Now, the yellow color of the main minions as well are a little bit too saturated. They're a little too perfect yellow. I would pull back on the saturation, like maybe 15-20%. Let's take a look here. Just somewhere more like in here would feel a little bit better. It's like about 15%. And then that way they line up a little bit better with what we're seeing here. In terms of the position of the light, I think we could go a little higher. Because I think that what we're seeing here is more of a light that's almost coming straight down on top and hitting them kind of up in here. And on yours, it's more coming from in front and hitting kind of more in here. So I would like to see... just a little bit more of the light get pushed up to this side here, and that will help just create a little more shaping across there, because I think that's the main one. In terms of I think this background bar, the lighter blue one here on the bottom, could just get a little bit darker. No biggie there, because I know that's just like a rough approximation, so I think that's really good. But yeah, a little bit, and then let's see. Do you see how there's like a very subtle like blue kick light coming down the side here? You can kind of see it on this guy too. I think you can afford to get, I mean, you have it a little bit here. I would just like it to get a little, you do have it there, but it's more up in here, like kind of getting it to kind of wrap around there. And I think that would certainly help a lot. So I think great start, really fun stuff. You're definitely heading in the right direction. It's just a matter of creating some softer specular highlights, getting a little bit more shaping in there. I think would really do wonders there. But great stuff. By the way, I believe it's mana. If it's, I'm gonna let me know if it's mana or mana. I think it's mana. Okay. Much better. I think this is great. The only thing that you want to watch out for, there are two things. One is just this, and this is just something in the render man shader, just like this bright part of the eye here and this bright part of the eye here. It's just that at a distance, it almost feels like those are eye dings as well. So like here, it's just like if I pull this back, it just feels like that is just as bright as the ding itself. So I would just tone that down just a wee bit. And then you can also bring, like if you have the eyes isolated in the comp, I would bring up the gamma a little bit on the eyes and then just take down the contrast to get those bright points down. And the other thing I will say is the white shirt can come up in brightness just a little bit, just a touch. And I noticed this when I was working with him too. He's got some weird specular highlights in his clothing. So you may, if you're rendering out that AOV pass, you may just want to shuffle out more of the, something like that, just to brighten it up just a little bit so the shirt doesn't look quite too dirty. But yeah, you may want to shuffle out the diffuse from the specular and just tone down the specular on the jacket a little bit. But other than that, like the shaping's looking great. This is really looking quite well, and I think you should be pretty proud of it. I think you should be proud of it. I'll take the word pretty out there. I think this is good work. I think you're doing good work. All right, Eric. Big progress over the last iteration. I saw the conversation that you had between you and Adrian. I think it's great. IES lights are great. The thing that I really like about them is that, so what they are their profiles that you can load into your lights to, and I talk about this in the Arnold class if you need help on how to do it. Basically, like, you think about architectural renderings. In architectural renderings, you want to be as close to reality as possible. So what they do is they made these IES profiles. In fact, let me just pull that up here real quick. To match what actual lights look like when they're being shown on things. So like, you know, here, and then basically they just convert it into a file that you can then utilize in your 3D render. It's more heavily used in architectural renderings. I have never once used it on an animated film, but I could certainly see the purpose is if you're trying to simulate the look of like a lamp or a fluorescent or like an LED light on a certain part of the image. So yes. So that being said, so yeah, you could certainly add that. That would certainly help with the lamp look, and it's more about just getting those shapes in there, right? You can either do it through an IES or just looking at some reference. So, okay, you've got the attic scene in there. That's cool. I think there's like there's a little bit too much complexity going on right now. The biggest thing that I see is just like there's some super dark shapes. Like, do you see this like down here and then down in here? Like just a lot of, and then even just coming up into this knitted pattern, just a lot of very, very dark interior shadow shapes in here. I'm not quite sure what's causing that, but that's definitely something we want to investigate. The other one, like looking at the reference, we've got, you know, like a little bit of warm light coming in here, a little bit of cool light coming in here, and they're just kind of mixing and balancing on the character. I mean, in my own lighting, I usually like to push one over the other one, but that's fine. I think for yours, yeah, I mean, we can, if you want to match the reference, that's fine. If you want to push another one, that's fine. We can work with it either way. But the biggest thing is right now, yeah, there's a couple things that are just like distracting from it. One is like, yeah, these dark shapes. The other one are these tight shadows that are down here. And the third big one is just like this overall like fog that's kind of happening over all of it. It's tough because you usually don't see that level of fogginess on something this close to camera. You know, you usually see it on more distant sets. And even then, we try and pull it off the character a little bit so it doesn't muddy the character's look too much. So what I would say for right now, let's simplify the scene, and let's see where we can go from there. So for the next time that you post it, what I want you to do is I want you to take this fog off, and I want to just have one light that represents this warm light coming in here, and one light that represents the cool light coming in here. And you can make them whatever you want. You can make them area lights or spotlights or sky domes or HDRI maps or whatever. But I really, really, really want to work on us balancing those two elements and making sure those two are in place before anything else gets added. Because it's such an easy thing to do in lighting, right? Your brain is racing at 100 miles an hour and you see all this cool stuff and you just want to replicate all of it. But before we do that, I want to make sure that our structure is sound. So let's take a step back. If you want to add an IES profile to it, by all means, go right ahead. But let's take a step back. Let's just have the warm light on the screen left side and the cool light on the screen right side, and let's get that balance right, and then we can go forward from there. All right, everyone. So I hope you all are doing well. Yes. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will be happy to chime in the comments section. A heads up, and I'll post this tomorrow. This weekend is a holiday weekend in the U.S., so I'm actually going to be taking Saturday and Sunday off from critiquing. So, and I hope that you guys enjoy a lovely holiday weekend. But I will pick up on Monday anything that's posted over the weekend. All right, guys. Until tomorrow. Happy lighting.